Drones, missiles, darkness. One of Russia's largest attacks in months ripped through Ukraine's capital. And it came just hours before peace talks with Washington. Ukrainian officials say Russia launched an estimated 500 drones and 40 missiles at Kyiv in a single night. Among them were Kinzhal hypersonic missiles, some of Moscow's most powerful weapons. President Volodymyr Zelensky called it a deliberate escalation. The strikes began early Saturday morning. Explosions echoed across the city as air defenses fought wave after wave. Power stations and residential buildings were hit. At least 22 people were injured, including 2 children. 12 were rushed to hospital. In the wider Kyiv region, the damage was even more severe. 1 woman was killed. Apartment blocks were struck. Fires burned through the night as rescue teams searched for survivors trapped under rubble. The impact spread quickly across the region. More than 2,600 apartment buildings lost heating. Schools were left without power. An estimated 320,000 homes were plunged into darkness. Ukrainian authorities confirmed direct hits on Kyiv's TPP-5 power plant. The Bielotserka energy facility was also struck. Officials say the attacks show a renewed Russian effort to cripple Ukraine's energy system during winter. President Zelensky described the barrage as Russia's answer to peace efforts. He renewed urgent calls for Western air defense systems, and he warned that negotiations without security guarantees are meaningless. Speaking to journalists via WhatsApp while traveling to the United States, Zelensky said Ukraine has already made major compromises, but he stressed peace is only possible if Ukraine is protected the day after a ceasefire. He said everything depends on keeping allies united. Zelensky said if Europe and America stand together, Vladimir Putin can be stopped. Hours later, diplomacy took center stage. In Florida, President Donald Trump and Zelensky claimed progress after high-level talks. Trump said peace could be very close. He acknowledged 1 or 2 thorny issues remain, but insisted significant progress had been made.
We had a terrific meeting. We discussed a lot of things. As you know, I had an excellent phone call with President Putin that lasted for over 2 hours. We discussed a lot of points, and I do think we're getting a lot closer, maybe very close. The President and I just spoke to the European leaders. They were President Emmanuel Macron of France, President Alexander Stubb of the Republic of Finland, President Karol Nawrocki of the Republic of Poland, Prime Minister Jonas Gahr Store of the Kingdom of Norway, Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni of the Italian Republic, Prime Minister Keir Starmer of the United Kingdom of Britain and Northern Ireland, Chancellor Friedrich Merz, the Federal Republic of Germany, Secretary General Mark Rutte, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, President Ursula von der Leyen of the European Commission. We spoke to all of those great leaders. They're all great leaders. And we had a great talk with them after we were completed. We thought it was appropriate to speak with them. And our meeting was excellent. We covered, somebody would say 95%. I don't know what percent, but we have made a lot of progress on ending that war, which is really certainly the most deadly war since World War II, probably the biggest war since World War II.
Dear colleagues, first of all, I would like to thank President Trump for a great meeting at this amazing place in his home in Mar-a-Lago. and we had a really great discussions on all the topics, and we appreciate the progress that was made by American and Ukrainian teams in these recent weeks. Special thanks to Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner, and thank you for their engagement and full commitment, and also to our team, and first of all to Rustem Umerov and General Gnatov, and to all our teams. And we discussed all the aspects of the peace framework, which includes, and we have great achievements, 20-point peace plan, 90% agreed, and US-Ukraine security guarantees, 100% agreed. US, Europe, Ukraine security guarantees almost agreed. Military dimension 100% agreed. Prosperity plan being finalized, and we also discussed the sequencing of the following actions. And we agree that security guarantees is a key milestone in achieving lasting peace, and our teams will continue working on all aspects. We also had a joint productive call with European leaders, like President Trump said already, and a lot of leaders, including NATO and the EU. And we agreed that our teams will meet in upcoming weeks to finalize all discussed matters. And we agreed with President Trump that he will host us, and maybe in Washington, European leaders and Ukrainian delegation, yes, in January. And Ukraine is ready for peace. And once again, would like to thank President Trump for a warm welcome and substantial discussion. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. President.
Well, I think look, you can say 95%, but I don't like to say percentages. I just think we're doing very well. We could be very close. There are one or two very thorny issues, very tough issues, but I think we're doing very well. We made a lot of progress today, but really we've made it over the last month. This is not a one-day process deal. This is very complicated stuff, but I think when the president says 95, I think, could be close to 95%.
Yet Moscow delivered a stark warning. President Vladimir Putin accused Ukraine of delaying peace. He said Kyiv is in no hurry to resolve the conflict, and he warned Russia would settle matters by military means if talks fail.
See that in the West there have also appeared intelligent people who are recommending to the Kyiv authorities that they accept dignified conditions for the conclusion of the conflict, and they provide good foundational conditions to ensure Ukraine's security for a long historical perspective. Conditions for restoring relations with the Russian Federation and rebuilding Ukraine's economy. But we can clearly observe that, unfortunately, even today, the leaders of the Kyiv regime are in no hurry to resolve this conflict through peaceful means. However, today, judging by the reports that you have presented, and also considering the pace of operations that we are currently observing along the line of combat contact, our interest in the withdrawal of Ukrainian military formations from the territories they are still occupying has in fact practically diminished to zero, for a multitude of entirely different considerations. And should the Kyiv authorities not wish to bring this matter to a peaceful conclusion, we shall resolve all of the tasks that are currently confronting us in the course of a special military operation by armed men.